What is going on, dudes and dudettes? It's your boy Innocence, back at it again with another video. And I've got to say, this week has been absolutely crazy in terms of gaming, but I'm pretty sure you've probably heard me say that before. Deja vu. Anyways, yeah, we had the Xbox Series X launched 2 days ago and the PS5 just launched today. So I decided to bring you guys a dual unboxing experience for those of you guys who might not have gotten it yet and want to see what you're going to get in the box as a consumer. Alright, so without any further ado, let's just jump straight into the unboxing, which I thought was actually pretty fun, by the way. Also, I hope you guys enjoyed this hand reveal that I had today. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed is that this box, when compared to the Xbox Series X box, is absolutely massive. Like, this thing is big enough to take up the entire frame of the camera setup that I had to do this video. So that's something, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just thought it was something worth mentioning. Like, this box is, you know, pretty hefty. It's a big boy. So when we crack this thing open, you'll notice that we have a box inside of a box. You might be asking why they would do that. I don't have an answer for you because I don't know either, but when we get the good looking box out of the way and actually get to the box that contains all the good stuff in the center of our frame, you'll notice that when we open it, we have a set of directions with 3 steps that shows us how to take out the PS5, which will come in handy later. Make sure you take note of that when you get your own. So as we continue and we open up the third box, which was in a box, it will actually open up the compartment containing the PS5 manual, the wiring, as well as the DualSense controller. And when you open up this box, it actually gets propped up by the outer box a little bit, which lifts it up and angles it towards you in a sort of dynamic way. It's actually pretty cool. So now let's pull that part out and take a look at all the good stuff, as well as get a sneak peek at the packaging of the PS5. So now that we finally have the box within a box within a box in front of us, we can finally get to what's inside of it. And the first thing that I happened to pull out was the AC power adapter. So yeah, that's how it looks like. Next, I take out the PS5 manual, which obviously nobody is going to read, so let's just skip past that part. I should say though that they actually included a second one, which was in Spanish, which is a nice touch for anyone who happens to not speak English. And I'm sure that these two manual language will vary from region to region, so it's not always going to be English and Spanish. It might be, I don't know, Portuguese and something else, or Chinese and something else, or something else and something else. So I think that's a pretty cool touch that they decided to include 2 different languages. And here we have a look at the USB-C charging cable that's obviously going to be charging your DualSense. It's a good thing that they included one of these, but then again, they have to, right? Cough, cough, batteries, cough, cough, Microsoft. And a quick note, I actually do like how they managed to compartmentalize all the accessories and the controllers into this nice tidy little box with its own little drawers and sections and stuff like that. I think it looks pretty clean. Almost a bit better than the Xbox Series X accessory compartment. The next thing that we unbox is actually the PS5 stand. It's the thing that's going to keep your PS5 stable when it's in the horizontal position as well as the vertical position. And the funny thing that I notice about other YouTubers when they're unboxing their PS5s is that nobody uses the stand when the PS5 is in the vertical position, which doesn't really make sense to me because as I demo later in the video, the thing really is not stable if you don't use the stand. I'm pretty sure Sony will probably say your warranty is voided if your PS5 tips over and you weren't using the stand or something like that, because it really needs it. So yeah, this vertical stand, you should probably use it. It's not that stable. I think someone just walking by and brushing over the PS5 will be enough to knock it over if you're not using the stand. And as we continue on, we actually get a look at the included HDMI 2.1 cable, which, as I mentioned in my Xbox Series X video, is a pretty thick boy. You'd be pretty surprised how much thicker HDMI 2.1 is compared to HDMI 2.0, which we're all used to. So yeah, that's something to take note of. Next up, the DualSense controller. And wow, this is actually my first time seeing it in person, and I gotta say, I really like how it looks. It actually fits in your hand really nicely, and I'll definitely say that it has a leg up on the DualShock 4. Though if you happen to be a claw player like myself, this controller doesn't seem to be as comfortable as the DualShock 4, but that's only when you're playing claw. And if you guys don't know what claw is, it's basically where you use your index finger to push the circle, triangle, square, and X buttons whenever you're playing FPS shooters and need to jump and shoot at the same time or something like that. Yeah, this controller doesn't feel too nice when you're using claw, but I feel like I'm going to get used to it and it shouldn't be that much of an issue. And again, if you're using the controller regularly, I don't think that you're going to notice at all, because when you're using it regularly, it feels absolutely astonishing. Leagues better than the DualShock 4. Oh, and fun fact, I don't know if my camera picked it up as well as I saw it in real life, but if you actually pull down on either of the adaptive triggers on either side and look into it, you can actually see the gear mechanism that's inside of it that probably makes these things work, which is pretty interesting. Again, I don't think you can see it too clearly here. I hope you can, but probably probably not, but when you eventually do get your own DualSense, you could take a look at it and you're definitely going to be able to see it, which I think is pretty cool. But enough of this accessory talk, let's move on to the big boy, the actual console itself. So I gotta say, it was actually really hard to pull out the console that was inside the box because it was packed in there pretty tightly. But once I did manage to get it out, it had two styrofoam-ish type things, if that's even styrofoam, which once I got rid of those, we were left to the PS5 itself, which had a styrofoam/saran wrap around it, which admittedly didn't look as nice as the Xbox Series X's styrofoam/saran wrap. But I guess it doesn't really matter. I just thought the Series X's box was actually pretty cool. Check that video out if you haven't. So once we got the PS5 finally unwrapped, which was actually pretty fun to unwrap because you just lay it on its side and flip it and flip it and flip it, which was actually pretty addicting, not gonna lie. But once that's over with, we are left with the PS5 console itself. This is my first time seeing it in person, and I've gotta say, first impressions, it's not white. It's like a white with a slight grayish/bluish tint to it, which isn't a problem at all. In fact, I would prefer it like this because a pure white wouldn't have looked as nice. So I think it actually looks better, but I think the trailers are a bit misleading to the eye, not gonna lie. But once you get over the shade and size of the thing and actually get to looking at the console itself, the thing actually looks really dope. Like the gloss in the middle just makes it stand out that much more. In fact, the glossy part was so shiny that you could actually see the camera that I was using to record this video in its reflection. That's how shiny it was. So if you're a stickler for fingerprints, do not touch this part because I could tell you right now it's going to attract them like crazy. But yeah, here is the PS5 in all its glory. I gotta say, it looks even better in person. But now let's talk a little bit about the stand, which I think is pretty ingenious how they incorporated it. So if you look towards the bottom of your PS5, you'll see a little plastic cutout that is actually removable that you will use to install the stand of your PS5 with the included screw. And as promised, here is the little push test that I said I would do in the beginning of the video. This is me just letting the PS5 stand without a stand and giving it a light tap to see how much it wobbles, which as you can see is a pretty decent amount for not that much force. But again, once you take that little plastic cutout on the bottom of your PS5 out, you will then be met with an option to take your stand and twist it a little bit using the mechanism, which will reveal the screw that is located inside the stand itself. Mind blown, that you then take out to then put the stand on and screw it in, which is pretty cool. They even give you a little compartment within the stand itself to store that plastic cutout from earlier so that you don't lose it if you want to then change your PS5 to a horizontal position, which I think is just a massive example of attention to detail that I have to appreciate. Now here's an example of me trying to tip the PS5 over again like I did earlier, but this time with the stand on. Notice how it wobbles a lot less compared to last time. So hashtag use your stands, guys. With the stand, you could even tip it this far and it still won't fall over, which is pretty impressive. But all the raving about the stand aside, let's actually put the PS5 in its horizontal position, which you could do easily with the same stand just by clamping it onto the back and get everything in frame so we could recap. So this is what you get in the box for your purchase of $4.99 if you happen to get the disc version, or $3.99 if you happen to get the digital version. You get the PS5 itself, the AC power cable, the USB-C charging cable for your DualSense controller, the HDMI 2.1 cable, the manuals, as well as the DualSense controller too. So yeah, pretty good bargain for $4.99 or $3.99 respectively. Not gonna lie. Oh, and final thing before we go, the grip on the back of the DualSense controllers that actually keep your hands in place are actually composed of tiny squares, triangles, circles, and X's, which is such an amazing touch and attention to detail that I'm at a loss for words. Obviously my camera didn't pick it up too well in this video, so I'm just gonna flash up a picture from somewhere else on the internet, but that's absolutely amazing. But yeah, ladies and gents, that's pretty much going to do it for this unboxing. I've got to say the controller and console here feel very premium, but I don't know which unboxing experience I would label as better, because on one hand the Xbox Series X had a very premium box and premium opening feel, but on another hand the attention to detail here by Sony on a lot of things is just too hard to forget. So you know what, I'm gonna leave it as a tiebreaker. You guys let me know down below which unboxing experience you thought was better. But without further ado, that's gonna be it, guys. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you disliked the dislike, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a future video upload on the channel. And also hit that bell notification button if you're so inclined. I've been Innocence, you've been the audience, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.